Welcome back to the Piano Crash Course. In one of our previous lessons, we learned about sharps and flats, and today we'll be learning a little more about them to see how key signatures work. In the previous video where we learned about sharps and flats, we learned that sharps are the black note in front of a key and flats are the black note behind a key. We know when to play a sharp and a flat based on the symbol that is placed beside a note. In the last lesson, we said that there were two ways we knew whether a note was sharp or flat. One was if this symbol was beside the note, and another is with key signatures. In this lesson, we will be learning about them. These are key signatures. There are a bunch of flats and sharps beside the treble clef at the start of the line. They tell us when to play a sharp or a flat without having to put the symbol beside the note later on. This is useful because if we have to play many of these sharps and flats, the sheet music would get messy and difficult to read. And that is why we use key signatures to help us tell whether we have to play a sharp or a flat. Before we start to learn how to read key signatures, let's learn a few rules first. Sharps and flats are segregated. They'll never come together in a key signature. So if flats were here, there wouldn't be a sharp, and vice versa. The next rule is that they come from left to right, and they only come in order. A key signature cannot only have this flat and this flat. They have to come in order. So if you want this flat, then the key signature would also have the first 6 flats first. Look at this diagram. This diagram will tell us which notes we have to play as sharp based on the number of symbols that are beside the treble clef. If there's one sharp beside the treble clef, we'll have to play F sharp. If there's 2, we'll have to play F sharp and C sharp. And as we go onward, the pattern continues. When it comes to flats, we can see that if there's one flat, we'll be having to play B flat. If there's 2 flats, we'll have to play B flat and E flat, and the pattern continues. There's a simple mnemonic that helps us to understand which notes to play sharps and flats based on their key signature. We'll go in order: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The total number of sharps or flats there can be. For sharps, Father Charles goes down and ends battle. If there's one sharp, we'll have to play F, 2 sharps, C, and 3 sharps, G, and so on forward. But if you remember this sentence, we'll also be able to tell which notes we have to play as flats, because it works in reverse order. If we have one flat, we'll be playing a B flat. If we have 2, B and E, 3, B, E, A, and so on forward. So this is a simple mnemonic which will help you to read key signatures before you memorize them. Let's look at how we'll be able to tell what key a song is in based on the number of sharps it has. We just have to look at the newest sharp introduced. Then we need to move a half step up and we'll get its key. If we look at the newest sharp introduced when we have 2 sharps, that's C sharp. Moving a half step up, we'll get D, and we'll be able to tell that the key the song is in is D major. This works for every single sharp. It's a little different for flats. To be able to tell the key of a flat note, first you need to remember that when there is one flat beside a treble clef in a key signature, then the key is going to be F major. After that, you can easily tell what key it's going to be in, because the last key that was introduced when you had one less number of flats beside your treble clef is going to be your key. To see how this works, let's look at this. When we have 3 flats, our key is going to be E flat major. Let's look at the flat before we had 3 flats, which is 2 flats. E flat major is the newest one that was introduced, and that's going to be the key signature of the next number. If we look at the third number of flats, A flat is the newest one introduced, and therefore when we have 4 flats, that's going to be the key signature, as we can see. 4, D flat is the newest one introduced, and for the 5th one, its key is D flat major. We can see this working all the way up till the 7th number of flats. And that's how we'll be able to tell what key we're in based on the number of flats and sharps there are. Here's an example of how key signatures are used. While this is a much more complicated piece that you don't have to learn right now, this will prove as an example on how key signatures are used. So what have we done today? We've learned about how key signatures work and when we know when to play a sharp or a flat. We've also learned a simple mnemonic that will help us memorize key signatures. And finally, we've learned how to tell what key we're in based on the key signature that we see. I've also given you a sample of what key signatures look like based on their note. I hope you enjoyed practicing, and I'll see you in the next video.